12 Harleys, 1 sunrise. A question that could shake Milwaukee to its core. Has Harley Davidson finally evolved, or are we staring at chrome-plated nostalgia? For 2026, Harley promised revolution, electric rebels, adventure warriors, and performance that doesn't apologize. But did they deliver, or just polish the past? From silent machines that'll make purists scream, to baggers that carve like sport bikes, one of these 12 could redefine what it means to ride American steel. Let's find out which one. Number 12. Harley Davidson Street Bob 114. Harley says less is more, but did they strip away too much? Meet the Street Bob 114, where Milwaukee's bobber philosophy gets taken to its absolute limit. No frills, no apologies, just blacked-out metal, a solo seat, and that unmistakable Milwaukee 8 114 rumble that shakes your chest at idle. On paper, it's perfect. 1,868 cubic centimeters of air-cooled American fury, delivering 119 pound-feet of torque. The exhaust note? Pure theater. Deep, guttural, the kind of sound that turns heads 3 blocks away. Fire it up, and you feel every vibration through the bars, the pegs, your bones. It's visceral. It's raw. It's exactly what younger riders want when they picture rebellion on 2 wheels. And at just under 15 grand, the Street Bob seems like the gateway to authenticity without selling a kidney. But here's the reality check. That minimalist aesthetic comes with hidden compromises. The suspension is tuned for looks, not function. Hit a pothole, and your spine knows it. The solo seat? Stylish. Until mile 200, when you're shifting every 30 seconds, searching for comfort that isn't there. Around the city, threading through traffic with that torque on tap, this bike is magic. But weekend warriors planning canyon runs or cross-state adventures, you'll feel every missing creature comfort. The Street Bob 114 is perfect for urban rebels who ride hard and short. For everyone else, less might actually mean less. Number 11. Harley Davidson Sportster S. Harley built a sport bike, and hardcore fans are furious. The Sportster S isn't just another model, it's a declaration of war against everything traditional Harley loyalists hold sacred. Liquid-cooled, high-revving, built to compete with Indian's FTR and European sport cruisers that have owned this segment for years. At its heart sits the Revolution Max 1250T engine, 1,252 cubic centimeters of turbocharged aggression, pumping out 121 horsepower and 94 pound-feet of torque. Those numbers don't just look good on paper. Twist the throttle, and this thing lunges forward with a fury that'll snap your neck if you're not ready. 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds. Top speed north of 120 miles per hour. This is performance Harley hasn't delivered since, well, ever. But here's where it gets controversial. It doesn't sound like a Harley. That liquid-cooled mill produces a mechanical scream instead of the potato-potato rumble purists worship. Online forums are exploding. It's not a real Harley, they say. Where's the soul? Yet walk around this bike, and the design language screams Milwaukee. Aggressive lines, muscular stance, that unmistakable silhouette. At 502 pounds, it's hefty for a sport bike, but in the canyons, it carves with shocking precision. The target demographic? Riders who want the bar and shield credibility but refuse to sacrifice actual performance for heritage theater. The Sportster S splits the fan base down the middle, and honestly, that might be exactly what Harley needs to survive the next decade. Number 10. Harley Davidson Road Glide 3. Your grandfather's Road Glide just became a rolling computer. The Road Glide 3 represents Harley's boldest push into the future, a touring machine so loaded with technology it makes your smartphone look primitive. That iconic shark nose fairing now houses a massive 12.3-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay, built-in navigation, and connectivity features that would make a Tesla blush. Beneath the digital dashboard sits the Milwaukee 117 engine, 1,923 cubic centimeters of proven American muscle, delivering 126 pound-feet of torque. But it's the supporting tech that steals the show. Adaptive ride height that lowers at stops, cornering ABS that reads lean angles, and suspension that adjusts on the fly based on load and road conditions. This is the most advanced Harley ever built. But does it still feel like a Harley? The target buyer says yes. Riders in their 50s and 60s who grew up on iron, but now demand heated grips, cruise control, and the ability to answer calls without stopping. They want comfort without surrendering credibility at bike nights. But here's the concern. You're 500 miles from home, when that touchscreen glitches, when the adaptive suspension throws a code, when all that brilliant technology becomes a very expensive paperweight. At $32,000, you're paying luxury car money. The question isn't whether the Road Glide 3 is impressive. It absolutely is. The question is whether riders want a Harley that thinks for them. Number 9. Pan America 1250 Special. Harley Davidson went off-road, and nobody saw this coming. The Pan America 1250 Special is either the boldest move in Harley's 120-year history or a desperate Hail Mary from a brand that's forgotten who it is. Maybe it's both. This isn't some half-hearted attempt to slap knobbies on a cruiser. Harley built a legitimate adventure weapon. Revolution Max 1250 engine screaming out 150 horsepower, adaptive ride height that drops 2 inches at stoplights, semi-active suspension reading terrain 200 times per second, and enough ground clearance to tackle fire roads the competition wouldn't dare touch. On paper, it's built to battle the BMW GS and Ducati Multistrada. In reality, it shockingly holds its own. Twist the throttle on pavement, and that 1,252 cubic centimeter engine delivers linear, explosive power. Point it at a dirt trail, and the electronics work overtime, keeping you upright when talent runs out. The riding modes actually matter here: rain, road, off-road, and off-road plus. Each fundamentally change the bike's personality. But here's the identity crisis. Can a company built on boulevard cruisers and V-twin religion convince riders it understands alpine passes and desert trails? Year 1 reliability issues didn't help. Overheating concerns, electrical gremlins, skeptical owners. For 2026, Harley claims they've fixed it all. The target audience? Riders exhausted by European ADV monopolies who want American engineering without apologizing for it. This bike could save Harley, or prove they've completely lost their way. Either way, the gamble is breathtaking. Number 8. Fat Boy 114 Anniversary Edition. The Fat Boy is pure nostalgia, and Harley's betting that still matters. Close your eyes and picture a Harley Davidson. Chances are you're seeing this. Massive solid disc wheels, that impossibly wide rear tire, chrome gleaming under streetlights. The Fat Boy isn't just a motorcycle, it's a cultural icon. Arnold Schwarzenegger rode one in Terminator 2. And that single scene cemented this bike in the American imagination forever. For 2026, the Anniversary Edition doubles down on heritage Milwaukee 114 engine, rumbling out 119 pound-feet of torque, special paint schemes celebrating decades of dominance. That unmistakable silhouette that stops traffic whether you're rolling through downtown or parked outside a dive bar. But here's the uncomfortable question. In 2026, is looking backward enough? This bike doesn't sell on specs, it sells on emotion. The target buyer is 45 to 60 years old, reliving their youth, chasing the fantasy of open roads and rebellion they never quite lived. At $21,000 plus, younger riders glance at it and see old man's bike. Yet in customization culture, the fat boy remains king. Builders worship this platform, the blank canvas for chrome, paint, and imagination. This isn't about acceleration or cornering clearance. The fat boy exists to make a statement. I ride a Harley because I know what matters. And for a certain generation, that's still everything. Number 7. Harley Davidson Nightster. Harley's cheapest bike in years. Is that a good thing? The Nightster represents Harley's most aggressive play for younger blood in decades. At just under $14,000, it's the most accessible entry point to the bar and shield club since the original Sportster ruled the streets. The Revolution Max 975T engine pumps out 90 horsepower from 975 cubic centimeters, enough grunt to feel legitimate without intimidating new riders. At 487 pounds, it's genuinely flickable through city traffic. The styling hits that sweet spot between retro Sportster DNA and modern minimalism. Blacked out everything, low-slung profile, stripped-down aggression that photographs beautifully on Instagram. But here's the brutal question. Did Harley sacrifice the Harley experience to hit that price point? Walk around the Nightster with critical eyes, and you'll spot where corners were cut. Component choices feel budget-conscious. Suspension that's functional but not exceptional. Brakes that work but don't inspire confidence. The finish quality doesn't match bikes costing twice as much because it can't. The target demographic, 25 to 40-year-olds craving that logo without the $25,000 commitment, might not care. They want Milwaukee credibility at Honda prices. But here's Harley's risk. Does affordability dilute the brand's prestige? When everyone can afford the legend, does it stop being legendary? The Nightster could hook an entire generation on Harley Davidson or teach them the premium isn't worth paying. Time will tell which. Number 6. CVO Road Glide Limited. Harley's most expensive bike costs as much as a car. Here's why people buy it. The CVO Road Glide Limited isn't transportation. It's a statement written in chrome, custom paint, and $50,000 of unapologetic excess. This is the Rolls-Royce of baggers. But does that price tag buy better performance or just bragging rights? Let's start with what's real. The Milwaukee 8 121 engine, displacing 1,977 cubic centimeters, maximum factory displacement Harley offers. Custom wheels you can't buy anywhere else. Paint schemes hand-applied in limited edition runs. Premium Rockford Fosgate audio that turns highway cruising into a mobile concert. Every touring luxury imaginable, then some you didn't know existed. But here's the uncomfortable truth. You're paying $20,000 over a standard road glide for cosmetics and exclusivity. So who actually buys CVOs? High-income riders who view motorcycles as jewelry collectors banking on appreciation. Statement makers who need everyone at Sturgis knowing they didn't settle. These bikes are hand-assembled in limited numbers, and ownership comes with VIP events and concierge treatment. The resale value question? CVOs historically hold value better than standard models. Some even appreciate if you nail the right color combo and keep miles low. This isn't a rational purchase, it's pure emotion, status, the need to own the absolute best Milwaukee builds, consequences be damned. If you have to ask if it's worth it, this bike isn't for you, and that's exactly the point. Number 5. Harley Davidson Lowrider ST. The Lowrider ST does everything, except look like it should. This is Harley's surprise weapon, the bike that came out of nowhere and built a cult following practically overnight. On paper, it shouldn't work. Sport touring capability wrapped in cruiser soul, mid-mount controls on a machine built for aggression, quick-detach touring accessories on a bike that looks ready to terrorize canyon roads. Somehow, it all works perfectly. The Milwaukee 8 117 engine delivers 1,923 cubic centimeters of torque-rich fury, enough muscle to embarrass sport bikes on back-road blasts. But it's the chassis that shocks people, cornering clearance that lets you drag pegs without scraping hard parts. Suspension travel that soaks up highway expansion joints for 500 miles, then attacks switchbacks like it forgot it weighs 700 pounds. Braking that inspires actual confidence when you're carrying too much speed into decreasing radius turns. Bolt on the quick-detach bags and windscreen, and suddenly you're touring strip them off and you're carving canyons. It's versatility without compromise, a concept Harley hasn't nailed in decades. The target demographic? Riders age 35 to 50 who refuse to choose between spirited riding and occasional long-haul comfort. Guys who want one bike that does it all without apologizing for either mission. Online forums are obsessed. Instagram is flooded with ST builds. Dealer lots can't keep them in stock. This might be the most underrated Harley of 2026 and the smartest bike they've built in years. Number 4. Harley Davidson Street Glide ST. Harley finally built a bagger that keeps up with sport bikes. The Street Glide ST is Harley's direct response to every rider who's ever said, "I love baggers, but I also love going fast." This isn't your dad's cruiser. This is what happens when Milwaukee stops apologizing and starts competing. Milwaukee 8 117 engine providing 1,923 cubic centimeters of relentless torque. But the real story lives in the chassis. 43mm inverted forks up front, Erlin's piggyback shocks out back, and cornering clearance that lets you lean this 800-pound beast like you stole it. The suspension isn't just upgraded, it's transformed. Compression damping, rebound control, preload adjustment. This is touring rig meets track weapon. In the real world, the ST devours canyons with shocking competence. Brake hard into tight corners, feel the front end bite, roll on throttle mid-apex, and power out while the bags stay millimeters from asphalt, then settle into 400-mile interstate slogs without your lower back filing for divorce. The competitive landscape matters here. Indian's Challenger and BMW's K1600 have owned performance touring. The ST finally gives Harley ammunition to fight back. The trade-off? This aggressive setup sacrifices some of that laid-back boulevard cruise vibe. You're committed to the ride, not passively along for it. But that's the point. The Street Glide ST proves Harley can build legitimate performance without abandoning its identity, and that might be the most important statement of 2026. Number 3. LiveWire S2 Del Mar. Harley built a silent motorcycle, and purists are losing their minds. The LiveWire S2 Del Mar is the anti-Harley no rumble, no clutch, no exhaust note echoing off canyon walls. Just instant, violent torque and a futuristic whine that sounds like science fiction became real. The permanent magnet motor delivers 84 horsepower and 194 pound-feet of torque, available the millisecond you crack the throttle 0 to 60 in 3 seconds flat. The acceleration doesn't build, it detonates. Twist your wrist, and the Del Mar launches like it's been shot from a railgun, pinning you to the seat with forces that would make liter bikes jealous. Range: 100 miles in the city, less on highways. Fast charging gets you to 80% in 45 minutes, if you can find a compatible station. This represents a massive philosophy shift. Harley's chasing urban riders, younger demographics, eco-conscious buyers who want the Milwaukee badge without fossil fuel guilt. Early adopters and tech enthusiasts who see electric as inevitable, not blasphemy. The controversy is biblical. Hardcore fans call it betrayal. Real Harleys shake the earth. Progressives call it survival. Adapt or die like every dinosaur before you. Real-world practicality: charging infrastructure remains spotty. Range anxiety is real. But maintenance costs plummet. No oil changes, no valve adjustments, no clutch replacements. At $17,000, it competes directly with Zero and Energica. The Del Mar won't replace V-twins, but it might define what Harley becomes over the next 50 years, and that terrifies everyone. Number 2. Harley Davidson Road King Special. The Road King Special proves old school never goes out of style. This is what happens when Harley perfects a formula instead of reinventing it. The Road King Special looks like it rolled straight out of 1965. Chrome headlight nacelle, leather saddlebags, spoked wheels, that commanding upright riding position. But underneath the timeless aesthetic beats the modern Milwaukee heart. Milwaukee 8, 114 standard. Optional 117 for those who need more. Either way, you're getting between 119 and 126 pound-feet of torque that pulls like a freight train from idle to redline. The blacked-out treatment transforms classic into menacing. Quick detach windshield means you're sport touring solo one day, full-dressed, bagger the next. This bike doesn't sell on specs. It sells on emotion, heritage, craftsmanship, the romanticized fantasy of American open roads. The target buyer is 45 to 65. Values style over spreadsheets. Wants a motorcycle that looks as good parked as it does moving. And here's the remarkable part. The Road King consistently tops Harley's sales charts. Not the high-tech models, not the performance machines. This one, it's not the fastest, not the most advanced. Doesn't have adaptive suspension or touchscreen navigation, but it might be the most Harley you can buy. The bike that encapsulates everything the brand represents. The Road King Special isn't chasing trends. It doesn't need to. It is the trend. Timeless, confident, undeniably American. Number 1. Harley Davidson CVO Street Glide. The CVO Street Glide is the bike every rider dreams about, and few can afford. This is what happens when Harley stops holding back $45,000 of pure Milwaukee aggression. Zero apologies, absolute dominance. The CVO Street Glide isn't just the best Harley of 2026. It's the ultimate expression of what American motorcycles can be. Milwaukee 8 121 engine, displacing 1,977 cubic centimeters, peak factory performance delivering 131 pound-feet of torque that rewrites your understanding of acceleration on a bagger premium Rockford Fosgate audio that turns your commute into a concert. Custom paint and chrome combinations you'll never see duplicated. But it's the chassis that separates pretenders from kings. Öhlins suspension front and rear, Brembo brakes with ABS, geometry tuned by lessons learned, dominating king of baggers racing. That racing pedigree matters. What Harley learned, obliterating competition on tracks, directly improved this street bike. The handling, the braking, the confidence at lean angles that shouldn't be possible. It all traces back to proving baggers can be weapons. The target psychology, riders who refuse compromise. Who want the best Harley, not just a Harley. This bike combines touring comfort for cross-country slabs, performance credibility for canyon runs, and undeniable presence everywhere it goes. CVOs hold value. Some appreciate it if you nail the right spec. The aftermarket culture? Endless. If you ride one motorcycle before you die, make it this one. The CVO Street Glide represents everything Harley Davidson is, was, and will become. Perfected. Which one would you choose? 12 bikes, 12 different visions of where Harley Davidson is headed, from silent electric rebels to old-school kings, from affordable gateways to $50,000 statements. So here's the question. If you could only ride one of these 2026 Harleys, which would it be and why? Drop your pick in the comments. I'm reading every single one. Smash that like button if you're ready to see these machines in action. Next week, we're taking the Pan America 1250 off-road and testing if Harley truly belongs in the dirt. You won't want to miss it.